Ag Life, presented by ADM Lloydminster.
Hello again and welcome to our agriculture show, Ag Life. I'm Gerard Lampow, and on the menu we chat about barley and beer, plus calving tips with Dr. Claire Windeyer, and Lakeland College checks the litter size for sheep. But first, another visit with our community partner, ADM. Natalie Olson tells us about the ADM FARMVIEW app.
Sure. So we just very recently launched this app. So it's ADM FARMVIEW. It's free on Google Play or on the App Store, and it is actually a fantastic resource for growers. So number one, anybody who downloads the app can check our bids. They can check basis levels.
So bids.
That's right. Futures reports, market reports, all those things. We do have let me see, like facility information as well. So there's directions to the plant for first-time deliverers.
Nice.
And then we also have information about our unload schedule. If we have a change in grades that we're accepting, things like that, we publish it on that app as well. Folks can contact us directly through the app. So yeah, you can actually select the grower that you want to speak with and tap it and contact that. Pardon me, the merchandiser that you want to speak with.
Yeah, I get that.
Tap it and contact them directly, so it's pretty handy that way. We update all of our unload hours, all those things. But then there's a whole other level. So once a grower downloads the app, a person can actually just contact us and request an account as well. So once you have the account, you can get onto the app and check all of your contracts, unloads, including grades, weights, all those things, settlements. A person can actually pull a summary of all of their unloads for the year, which is something that's really common for this time of year. It's a common request. And something that growers use it a lot for is actually, first of all, this year, keeping an eye on grades, so watching for that distinctly green or tough canola. But then also just making sure that tickets are being applied to the correct contract, because everybody knows that we take a lot of trucks in the day, and sometimes it's easy to slip up, right? So
it can happen.
Yeah, it's a great way to keep track of what's going on the farm.
Yeah. Now, I mean, for some, I'm trying to find a way to say this. Some of our folks who are a bit more seasoned in the business,
right.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
You say an app, and they say, huh?
Right.
like you expect me to, how do you kind of bridge that conversation?
To be honest, I mean, each of the merchandisers in the office has the app on our phone.
Yeah.
And it is pretty simple to use. We do help people download it.
Nice.
But once it's downloaded, it's a very simple, user-friendly system. So I think anybody who's nervous about it, if they just give it a shot, they'll find it to be a really helpful tool.
Yeah, because some folks are challenged that way, and I often joke around and say, well, maybe get your grandkids, like even if you're setting up Facebook, Twitter,
that's right,
Instagram, get your grandkids to help you, and that way there's another conversation that you have with your family that way.
Absolutely, yeah. I say that a lot too.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Now, tell me one of the things that you find it really helpful to producers, because you walked me through a few of them, even literally the directions to get to ADM.
Right, yeah. We do try and think of everything. I would say probably the most common use for it is we have a lot of growers who hire commercial truckers, and so they don't necessarily get a copy of their ticket once the load is unloaded. But I believe it's only a 10 or 15 minute delay from the time that the load is dumped into the pit to when it shows up on the phone. So I think that's probably where we've seen growers appreciate it the most, is they've been able to track their unloads. You know, if they're sending a pile of them in the day, it's very easy to keep them organized and tracked and have a look at, you know, what exactly is being dumped.
What did you put in the bin?
Exactly, yep, exactly.
Yeah, perfect that way for sure. And I guess that is a major concern for you, even the grading and the quality and so on, to make sure, okay, it's absolutely there,
That's right.
Then you don't have to worry about it after that.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, every wise grower keeps an eye on those things. So, I mean, it's an important tool.
For sure. All right, well, I'll let you get the opportunity to invite folks who are hearing about this for the first time, producers and so on, yeah, to just say, okay, this is a no-brainer. This is easy to do. How do you get the app?
Yeah, it is so simple. It is, again, free on Google Play or on the App Store. Every family has someone who is a little bit techie, so if you're not sure how to do it, I'm sure you've got somebody in your family to help, or you can always stop by the office. We'll give you a hand getting that loaded on your phone.
And when we come back, we get into the barley and good beer debate. Do stay with us.
This segment of Ag Life is brought to you by Webb's Machinery. Webb's Machinery, your New Holland dealer in Vermilion, Vegreville, and Lamont.
So, if it tastes good, why change it? I check out the conversation about barley and beer.
It's all in the taste.
That's where brewers are very reluctant to try a new variety, and where that sort of conflicts with farmers is currently brewers tend to take a variety and they'll run with it for 20 years.
Cam Goff farms with his family near Hanley, Saskatchewan. He grows wheat, canola, flax, and of course barley, the main ingredient in beer. New varieties have come on in the industry, but brewers are reluctant to risk the taste of their product as they have a set recipe.
They have certain amounts of each type of barley. Sometimes it's a single barley, sometimes it's a mixture. It's also how is it malted can change, whether they put in other products as well.
The issue is taste and tradition, but ag producers are facing disease pressure and lower yields by using old varieties when they have options. Goff says brewers may run with a variety for 20 years, but they are slowly changing.
They are starting to listen. They realize that when they see the declining acres, they see the declining production in barley, the light has come on and they've thought, yeah, okay, well, we have to take farmers into the equation. We can't just do whatever we want to.
The price of barley is up, and that has implications on the feed side, as 65% of barley grown in Western Canada goes into feed.
Some of our customers really prefer animals that have been finished on barley because it has a much whiter fat to it, different color, and also a different flavor as well.
Just 20% of barley grown is selected for malt. To find the happy medium between feed and beer, Goff admits that malt barley is considered the poster boy, but with the new malt varieties, the yield is basically the same.
Previous to this, you'd actually, you maybe get 10, 15, 20% less barley from a malt variety as you do from a feed variety. But now, the very best malt varieties are getting very close to the same yield as a feed variety.
Well, calving season is in full swing across the Midwest. I get some very important tips from a vet who wants producers to avoid having a wreck.
Having a prepared calving kit can be the difference between a live and a dead calf.
Veterinarian Dr. Claire Windeyer, who lectures at the University of Calgary, is keen on making sure that producers get that extra calf.
Calving chains, handles, lube, gloves, towels, and some antiseptic like iodine should all be kept clean and close at hand.
Devices for resuscitation and the phone number of your vet should be readily available. Also, a way to warm up calves in cold weather. There must be a plan to make sure every calf gets colostrum.
This might mean milking out the cow and bottle or tube feeding the calf, or having stored frozen colostrum or colostrum replacement product available to feed.
Windeyer encourages producers to avoid dairy colostrum since it has way less antibodies than beef colostrum, and there's a biosecurity risk. Proper hygiene for calving in a barn is essential.
Providing lots of clean straw, removing manure when possible, and moving healthy pairs out as quickly as possible can really help reduce how much newborn calves are exposed to.
Windeyer stresses checking the suckle reflex.
Making sure every calf gets up and sucks from their dam quickly, and that those that don't get colostrum delivered by someone helping them out will really help keep those calves resilient to any bugs that they do encounter.
Calves get all their antibodies from their colostrum. Without it, they risk getting diseases like scours. Biosecurity is key for a sound operation, and even visitors to the ranch must have clean boots, especially to exclude bringing bugs from another ranch.
So making sure that things like bottles and tube feeders get cleaned regularly, the calving chains are kept clean, Calf sleighs and hot boxes can be a nice source of spreading disease within the farm.
WINDEYER also recommends plotting out your breeding program and planning ahead of calving season with your vet.
Raising and selecting heifers and buying bulls that are right for your environment and your operation, vaccinating and feeding them properly throughout the winter, and planning out your pasture management strategies can really help keep cows and calves healthy during and after the calving season.
Well, here's another option for area producers when it comes to insuring the farm. I get a fresh take on covering your risk.
Given the many challenges facing agriculture, having insurance is always a good policy. Global Agri-Risk was started in Moose Jaw in 2011. They cover the prairie provinces as well as 35 states.
So we offer producers a different kind of insurance for the revenue on their farm. Where traditional crop insurance programs deal with the bushels produced, we insure a portion of the revenue. We also insure their input costs dollar for dollar, so every dollar you put in the ground is insured, and a portion of the margins that everybody's producing on the acres.
Insurance from the revenue side gives producers an added dimension to consider.
We do our insurance based on a farm's financial statements. So we take a 5-year average of what the farm is capable of producing, and that's what we offer our insurance based on. So basically it's more all-encompassing than a bushel-based program, because we look at anything that can touch the revenue, whether it's quality issues, hail, basically any peril that can happen is insured through us.
Mast covers the Vegreville-Lloydminster region. She looks back at the challenges of the last few years.
In 2016, we were snowed under, which delayed seeding in 2017. And then this year, we struggled with harvest again, and there's a lot of quality issues. So that's where we really shine, is in the quality issues. A lot of producers are stuck with green canola, so that's one of our insured perils that we can insure for.
Global Agri-Risk also covers marketing losses, but the big issue this year is quality, especially given the cost of drying grain.
Since our insurance policies are all based on an individual farm, there's no township averages. A producer that's in a claim would send in his grain tickets, and we would pay him out based on what he sold the grain for. So, for example, if he had 20% greens and his canola went sample and he was only able to sell it for $4 a bushel, we would top him up to whatever revenue coverage he had chosen.
And when we come back, Lakeland College is checking litter sizes in sheep. Do stay with us. Well, this next segment comes to us from Lakeland College. Live the learning. Producers need to find out how many lambs an ewe might be having. So let's delve into the litter size in sheep.
Today is taking the blood sample, then centrifuging it and collecting the serum, and that serum will be snap frozen, transported to the University of Alberta, where my collaborators there will run the analysis for the metabolites that we'll find in that blood. The reason we need to do it is because producers find that lamb survivability is poor when we don't know we're going to get triplets. So producers can test for pregnancy in sheep by using an ultrasound. But right now, ultrasound isn't very accurate for determining the litter size. And so having a test like this would really allow quick, easy, pen-side assessment without any wait time, without any need to pay someone to do it for you. That is the intent. We hope we can get there with this research. This is only phase 2 of a 3-year project. So it's basically metabolomics technology, and we have 2 different tests to determine a vast array of metabolites, up to 200 in one of the tests, and I believe about 90 some in the other. So we'll get a good picture of what's in this used blood and use the most promising ones that are most accurate to determine our test as far as pregnant or pregnant with multiple fetuses. It's ideal for me to collaborate with a college such as Lakeland that has not only the facilities and the ewe flock, but they also have experienced technicians and staff. And so we can also bring in the component of student learning. And so students get hands-on training with the various components we're doing during each trial. So we have blood collection, we have sheep handling, we have the feed testing and analysis as part of this project to know what they're eating, because that does affect their metabolites. So I have collaboration with the Alberta lamb producers, as well as the University of Guelph and Laval University. So we have Ontario and Quebec collaborators in this project as well.
Well, with all the snow we've had this past winter, it's hard to talk, well, even colloquially, about managing for a drought, but this is what areas to the south have been experiencing over the past 3 years. Let's meet an agronomist who wants producers to be prepared.
When a plant is heavily grazed,
the grass responds to grazing, and then how we can start to plan for better management, especially coming out of a drought.
Jessica EMMOTT is an agronomist who lectures at Lakeland College. She's encouraging producers to look at their grazing management practices.
Like southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan got hit really hard for the last 2 or 3 years, even in some areas. And then the Midwest, we were fortunate, but there was still some dry areas and some areas that are going to need some heavier management here and there.
EMMOTT shares some of the key management techniques.
Thinking about how long our grass needs to recover after being grazed, leaving enough material after grazing so that it can recover, so that it's not pulling from its stored root carbohydrate storage, and then thinking about how we can start to get those livestock to distribute across the landscape, eating the forages that they typically wouldn't eat, and then saving the forages that they love to eat last.
It's rotational grazing with a twist of delayed gratification. EMMOTT gets into the math of feeding cows.
It's a very technical sort of math, but it does help producers understand how much a pasture can hold and how much their herd would actually consist of and how much they need to eat. So how long can we keep them in a pasture, or how many cows is appropriate for a certain pasture, let's say. And so by understanding it, they'll be able to manage for it better. They might not be able to do the math, but they'll understand that, oh yeah, this is where it comes from.
Allowing plants to rest and recover helps ensure pastures have enough carbohydrates to survive winter. Animals also have different eating habits.
A horse is going to eat a lot more than a cow, is going to help us, okay, we have this long, but we need to only take 50% of our forage, leave 50% for recovery, and then how quickly can we get them back out there?
Managing pastures in a drought calls for some tough decisions.
You have about 50% of the actual production you normally can manage for. Now we can start to consider, and maybe that means cutting out down the herd, the livestock herd that year.
let's talk about this year with this drought, what happened.
And still to come, taking the time. A lifestyle coach urges producers to make time for self-care. Do stay with us.
Ag Life, presented by ADM Lloydminster.
Let's all take a moment to catch our breath before this next story, because I think that's an important aspect of this story too. Yeah, we've all said it. I'm too busy or my schedule won't permit me. I meet a lifestyle coach who is urging her audience to take care of themselves.
Can you run down the road and pick up a canner?
I do some lifestyle coaching and helping people to, I use the phrase, dance to the fullest expression of themselves.
And I can do it in my bare feet.
Lisa FRIEDT grew up on a ranch and was on horseback even before she could walk. She was sharing her motivational story with her audience at the recent Rural Women Conference.
What kind of hobbies do you have? Because you can't really say, oh, I'm going to take the weekend off, I'm going fishing, or I'm involved in this beautiful art class, or I take ballet once a week, because life in agriculture can be a bit unpredictable.
FRIEDT is concerned that people get so tied to what they do that they may not be able to explore other interests until there's a wreck on the ranch.
We know that there's seasons where there's a little more time. During calving, there's not a whole lot of time for you to say, oh, I'm going to take this class, I'm going to make sure that I'm hanging out with my friends all the time, or reading even different books by different authors.
FRIEDT encourages people to explore different pursuits.
Maybe gardening is a passion that I want to explore, and make sure that you are building that into your schedule, you're putting it on there, and then you're letting your partners know, whether it's your spouse or your family members, or just if you've got a partner in your agriculture operation, hey, this is something I'm interested in. Would you mind helping me stay accountable?
FRIEDT recommends having a partner in crime to help you break the cycle. She talks about meditation, which in her own life she schedules at 4 a.m. Still, some folks will say they just get up and go. FRIEDT shares this nugget.
My parents' ranch, the best sunrises happen there. And so without a doubt, you will see me taking notice of the sunrise and likely a picture of it too.
Yeah, the sunrise or even a sunset as well. Well, it's time to roll our events calendar. If you want to get in on this part of the show, just email me, glampow@newcap.ca. Let's have a look at some upcoming events. So much going on around the region for you to be a part of. We're still rolling out some of our stories from AgriVisions. We'll share those in future episodes. Yours in Agriculture, take care.